Awesome. We're live. Namaskar. Welcome back to another live on Thursday evening on YouTube and Facebook. So, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Aditya Soma. And on this channel, I talk about financial freedom, how you can achieve financial freedom using real estate, because that's what real estate has done to me as an investor. And also, I talk about, how you can thrive in real estate investing and also real estate sales. If you're aspiring real estate agent, then you're at the right place. Or if you're already thriving in real estate agent, as a real estate agent, you're at the right place. So, welcome again. I do this live every Thursday, and sometimes I do alone. Sometimes I bring awesome guests like Armani here.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you for the awesome, by the way.
no, thank you. So I haven't done the introduction. You got to thank me after the introduction.
Okay, let's do it.
So, guys, you're in treat, especially if you want to be a successful real estate agent. Here I have Armani, who is a very successful real estate agent and broker. Armani Brokerage. Am I pronouncing it?
Armani Realty. Yes, sir. You got it.
Armani Realty. Okay, there
Yeah.
you go. Who's been in the business for more than 15 years and a
Yes.
family man with two kids, doing social media as well, like a lot of social media. That's what I noticed. So I thought you guys can learn from an expert from GTA who is doing social media, using social media to thrive in this market. So without any ado, Armani, thank you so much for being here, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much, and I'm quite interested to hear what you have to say, what you have to ask me, and
Sure.
I'm all about helping people and just getting positive energy out there.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's the motto of this channel. It's just a sharing on what we know, because I believe strongly everyone have their own expertise in
I,
their own area.
I agree.
So when we combine those expertise, now I can learn from you on how you're operating. I can take one or two advice home and implement in my business. And same thing, people who are watching, so if you're watching live, don't be hesitant to ask any questions you have. If you're starting out, you new agent, or you're already in the business, you're trying to be successful, you don't know where to go, and this is the right place. So you're at the right place. Make sure to ask any question you have in the comments below. So I'll start asking, and then you guys can jump in with your questions. Awesome. So Armani, for those who don't know you, what's your story?
My story. How long is this show gonna be?
It's it's gonna be. You got time. You got a lot of time.
You know what? The story's very, very simple, brother. I began real estate 16 going on 17 years now. I got into the business right when all of those HGTV shows, flipping shows became super popular. Along with many other people, I thought it was easy. I thought real estate was easy. So I said, you know what? Let me start buying and selling homes. So I bought a couple of properties, tried to flip them. In the middle of that, buying the second property, I figured, you know what? I'm going to do this for a living. I'm going to do this so much that it would make sense if I went ahead and got my real estate license so I can buy and sell my own property. So I got my license, uh, lost a little bit of money on the first one, lost a ton of money on the second one. And then basically, that's how I became a real estate agent. I just started buying and selling properties for friends and just people that kind of knew that I had my license. And slowly but surely, I started to build a name. And after around 4 years into the business, working part time, I said to myself, you know what? I need to give this a go. I was doing very well part time, but what I didn't realize was how much of a transition it was going to be from going part-time to full-time, because like a lot of part-time agents out there, they're just sitting at home doing their day job, waiting for their phone to ring, and the calls start coming, and then especially when the market is pretty active, it's very easy to start getting transactions. But then when I made that switch to full-time, it was honestly an eye-opener, because I didn't have any systems in place. I really didn't have any foundation. So my phone stopped ringing, and it was almost, I would say, 7 or 8 months that I did absolutely nothing, no transactions, no
Wow.
nothing, had no idea what to do, and it was a pretty scary time, right? But it's the time when you got to pick yourself up and get started, right?
Hmm. Oh wow! So that's interesting story. So you started as a flipper, and then you went into sales, and
Yes.
that to part time for 4 years.
Yes.
So if you have a chance, would you go back and start full time from the day one, or would you still do part time?
Absolutely. This is something that I kind of preach all the time. Not only would I start full time right from the get go, what I think my strategy would be to kind of have a job, save enough money where I was able to more or less survive for anywhere between 6 months to a year without working. And I would actually join a team. I would pick a great team, a strong team that is actually interested in teaching me, not necessarily interested in having me do their errands or, you know what I mean, just do their open houses, actually teach me the business and working together with them to kind of learn the ropes. And that's what I would do if I go back right to the first day.
Love that. Love that. So fast forward, like now, where is your business coming from? Like you started with friends and family.
Yes.
Where is your business now? Like um, give us an idea on where you're standing.
It's funny how at the beginning of the conversation I said I started with friends and family, but they knew I was a real estate agent, but a lot of them would recommend me, but a lot of them, being honest with you, wouldn't use me. It was only until I started doing very well that they started calling me, right? Because they were seeing that I knew what I was doing, that I was active, and that's when they kind of said, "Okay, you know what? We have some sort of trust." And then I got kind of going with actual friends and family, right? But they were referring me, just not using me. And now it's just a matter of, yeah, I pick up a lot of my leads from social media. Now, obviously, I've built a very vast network of clients. I touch base with my previous and past sphere of influence. So I have a lot of reoccurring business, and it's just a matter of continuing to connect with those people, right? So I kind of have a different approach. A lot of newer realtors and big teams, they have that approach of they keep on trying to drum up new business. They keep on trying to reinvent the wheel, and they kind of like they're in the volume business, right? Which I
Mhm.
totally get, and it's not a bad model because it is a very profitable model. But I'm at the point of my life where it has to satisfy my soul. And that being said, I want to be able to love what I do. I want to be able to love who I do it for. So for me, it's not about the money. The money's great, but it's more about that relationship, that experience that the client even gives me, because that's what a lot of people don't realize, that the same way that it's an experience for the client, it's also an experience for me. So I'm also interested in working with the right people the same way that people are interested in working with the right realtor.
Yeah, I love that. That's so true because if you don't work with people whom you can enjoy, or if you don't have that connectivity, it's boring. That's that. You got some great points there. I want to pick on like a lot of things. Um, so first of all, you said like you're nurturing your existing database. You're just trying to get more out of what your existing database. So can you elaborate on what you do exactly to stay in touch, and get that repeat business from the existing database?
Yeah, sure, of course. What I like to do is I like to keep people informed. People like information. Obviously, they don't want you to send them 10 emails in a month, you know what I mean, of just listed properties, because that is kind of annoying. However, there is also a niche for that as well. I actually know a realtor. He's out in the Milton area, and that's where he drums up the majority of his business. He sends people an email every single day, and he's
Wow.
got an email list of over 10,000 people. And you would think that a lot of people would opt out, but this is kind of the niche of people that he has, and they actually appreciate and enjoy receiving his emails, right? So that's just one example of, if you kind of niche out and you kind of do certain things with certain types of people, you can be successful. So I think that as realtors, we always try to do something in general, but I think that you have to kind of pick 3 or 4 different aspects of business. There's going to be people that are going to be receptive on social media. There's going to be other people that are going to be receptive with a phone call, other people that are going to be receptive with a knock on the door. You know what I mean? You just have to do different things with different people. And I think that's the only way to kind of touch everybody, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. Everyone have a different niche, so that's why I'm asking, like, what makes use like. So, you send out an email with the information. What else do you do, like, to keep in touch with your existing database?
So one of the things that I love to do is I love to call people. Um, it's just it's just a natural way. It shows people that you do care. And the
Mhm.
thing is, a lot of my clients are people that are my friends. They've become my
Mm.
friends. People that I've kind of like, I know what's going on in their life. I know how their kids are doing. You know what I mean? So them receiving a phone call from me every 3 or 4 months saying, "Hey, how are you? How you doing? How's your son? How's your daughter?" Those are things that, you know what I mean, a computer can do for you. And I
Yeah.
know that we see each other all the time on social media. We have the power to text each other, but sometimes a lot of these old school ways do work.
Yeah.
So I know that a lot of these newer school realtors, right, especially the millennial realtors, I'm a millennial realtor as well, even though I'm kind of like right at that cusp, I'm still considered a millennial. They don't really believe in print advertising in the sense of, let's say, flyer blasts or all that, but they're effective. I know tons of realtors. Now, it's very expensive, but I know tons of realtors that send out monthly marketing materials, monthly postcards, and all that, and they're doing amazing. So it's
So
just
do
a
you
matter
do
of
you
what
do as
works.
well? Like, do you do postcard?
I used to, but once again, I noticed that the type of people that were reaching out to me were not the type of people that I wanted to work with.
Hmm.
So again, I'm not trying to be in the volume business. I'm happy doing a certain amount of transactions personally per year. Like if I was looking to go ahead, let's say, and expand and do 500 transactions a year and have a team of like 30 guys out there, that's something that definitely I would attack and do, but it's not really my model right now. I'm at a different stage in my life where I'm trying to transition into a bunch of things. So I'm just trying to focus on great relationships and I'm trying to focus on building off of that.
So you're like a solo agent by yourself, or you have a team?
No, I actually have a team. So I have a full time assistant. I have another full time realtor who's been with me now going on 3 years in the fall now, Adrian Mazzocco. And I have another realtor who's going to be joining me in the next couple of weeks. So the team is slowly but surely growing. If you work for my brokerage, you are part of the team. So I don't have a regular brokerage where I'm interested in hiring guys and they're out on their own. Time is very limited. So I do want to go ahead and focus and give good energy and give good tips and advice and just hands-on one-on-one service. So that's kind of what I do with my team, right? I really like to be very hands-on and I really want to help them. It's not just about, hey, go and do my open house for me, or hey, I need these things done. You know what I mean? It's about really teaching them on how to become a brand, how to become a business. And I think that's what's lacking in real estate. People don't realize that they need to be a business and stop becoming salespeople, because once you stop selling, your business stops.
Yeah. That's true. But what I'm hearing a lot from you is like, yourself better. You know what you want in life. That's one thing I see. A lot of people are confused, like from the get go, like, or they're in the business for 2 years, 3 years. If they see other people what they're doing and they want to try to replicate, but if that is
Yes.
not what you want, so like, that's what I'm hearing a lot from you. Like, you're very specific to what you really need in life.
Well, I think you need to make goals, right? I've always been a very goal oriented person. I've always kind of said, okay, I want to do this. How do I achieve it? Let me figure it out. And everything that I've learned, no one's really taught me. I'm a self learner. I've made tons of mistakes along the way. I continue to make tons of mistakes because I'm relentless. I do not give up and I will not give up. And that's why I say that I would go back and join a team, because I made so many mistakes because I just didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to do. So I kind of had to learn it on my own. And I kind of came into the business where social media really wasn't a thing. There was no Facebook, there was no Instagram. Like there were so many things that didn't exist. And then when they existed, that was even a very difficult thing because people didn't know what they were doing. Like I remember when we started doing video, we were one of the
Yeah.
first ones doing video. Nobody was doing video, and we were doing things, and people were like making fun of us. They were like, "Why do you do this? This is stupid. What does it have to do with real estate?" And now you have realtors dancing and singing and doing stupidity. just to attract clients, right? So it's kind of bizarre how things kind of have changed and how they've evolved over the last, let's say, 10 years.
Yeah, so that's a very good point. Like social media has kind of evolved since you've been in the business. You have seen the transition.
Yes.
So, what's the strategy that you use for social media? Like, what do you do on social media? Because a lot of people who are watching this, I know, a lot of new agents follow me who are getting their license. They want to become a successful agent. They know that social media will help them, but they don't know where to start. So, what do you do using social media? What's your strategy?
I love that question. So I feel that a lot of newer agents, they want to go with the trend. They see exactly what you said. They see everything that other people are doing and they try to copy it, they try to mimic it. And a lot of newer realtors, and I get it because you're just starting out in the business, you want to make money, they're focused on transactions and deals. But the truth of the matter is that you're not ready to transact. As soon as you finish your licensing, you don't know what you're doing. That's the honest truth. You're in the business. You know what we learned as soon as we got into it. And realistically speaking, and truthfully, we're not ready to transact. It's ludicrous that we get our license and the day after we can go ahead and help somebody sell a $10 million listing. It never made sense to me. For me, if I'm trying to teach one of my agents, I basically explain to them that they need to learn the business before they start going ahead and trying to help people, because they need to have that self-confidence as well. And a client, they're only going to want to use you if you know what you're doing. So if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to be very hard to get people to trust you, and it's going to be actually very hard to help other people. That's why I really believe that if you join a team or you kind of like have the opportunity to work alongside somebody, because you don't necessarily have to join a team. I know a couple of newer agents that are kind of shadowing very experienced realtors. So there's lots of ways to kind of go about it. But I think you need to focus on helping people, giving people value, not just going ahead and, you know what I mean, doing these things that, like, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about. Social media is just, it's full of it, right? It's just things to like, it's just brainless content. That's what I kind of call it. It's just content that is really, it doesn't offer anybody anything. And I think that's where a lot of things are getting lost.
So, if my understanding correct, the content that you got to put out is something that is going to add value to someone's life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People want information. People want to know. They want to know how to make the right decisions. Everybody, just very small things like, should I sell? Should I buy first? What's happening in the market? What's going on? People just want to be informed. They do like those fun things. They do like those fun videos, but I feel that it can't be all that. You need to be a professional. You need to know what you're doing, and people are going to use you because you're intelligent, because you seem experienced, because you seem like you know what you're doing. So you got to communicate that to your audience.
Yep. Yeah, love that. That I believe in the same thing because, if you're not providing value, if you're not helping someone to answer their questions, they're not gonna, trust you. They're not gonna like you, at least in the real estate world, because, you're not trying to build a social media platform to have millions of views. I
Yes.
mean, if that's a goal, then do different things. But for this, especially for sales, you gotta do the content that helps someone out there to answer their questions, to give solutions for their problems that they're facing right now. So love that. How is your business now? Like, what type of transactions do you do, more like family, first time home buyers, or like sellers or investors?
So I still get a lot of first time buyers that do reach me, because I started in the business such a long time ago. I've already, like, let's say a lot of the first time home buyers that purchased with me 10, 12 years ago, they're now, let's say, on their third or fourth property, or they're on their third or fourth transaction because they bought a home, sold it, purchased another one, then sold that one, bought an investment property, bought another one. Obviously, a lot of real estate movement has happened over the last 5 or 6 years. So there's a lot of people that continued investing in real estate. But investment properties are kind of some of the properties or some of the transactions that I love most, just because I am an investor myself, I truly believe that a lot of people purchase real estate without a strategy. Their strategy is, you know what? We just have to bid more than the other guy. And we're assuming that in the next 3 years, this property is going to be worth more and we're going to sell it and we're going to continue refinancing and buying more. And if we look at like the last three kind of hiccups in our market, 2017, we had a drop. We had a small 2 month and a half drop back in 2020 when the first lockdown was announced, and what we've been going through over the last 3-4 months, which I really firmly believe is something that's going to drag on for the next year. I don't think it's going to be something where in the fall things are going to go up, or next year in the spring things are going to start picking back up. The truth of the matter is that the market's going to continue dropping or stay flat until they lower interest rates once again. Until that happens, the market's not really going to start going up, especially, you know what I mean, at these crazy high percentages that we've seen over the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel the same. I was, on the last live, we were talking about the same thing. I was asking the guests, like, what do you think about the market? How do you see? And most of the people I know, they're saying the exact same thing. For next couple of years, we could see a stable market. We could see a small decline, further decline. We don't know how far. But once the Bank of Canada stop increasing the rates and start reducing it, then we should see we are back to normal again. But yeah, like that's an interesting one to see, like, watch and see. I never been in the recession time. Probably you were there, like, you were in 2018. So 2008, you're still a realtor, right?
I was in 2008, so it's kind of crazy because during that time was when I was kind of transitioning from that part-time to full-time, and it was really a scary time, but I didn't really feel it because I wasn't as involved in real estate as I am right now. So I remember back in 2017 where there was we had like a year, 2 years, like we've had in the last couple of years, and then all of a sudden they announced the foreign buyer rule changes, and all of a sudden, boom, everything kind of shifted, and it happened so quick. It was like a light switch, right, where everything changed. And it was really tough to navigate, just because a lot of buyers kind of have that fear, and they were used to having to make quick decisions, and then all of a sudden they're kind of seeing everything that's going on, and they hit the pause, and then the sellers are expecting what their neighbor had sold for on the month before, and that's not the price that they're getting. So it's just a matter of having people become realistic in terms of what their expectations need to be.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And you as a realtor, how do you navigate in this market situation? Like, and have you made any changes to the way you're doing business 2 months, 3 months ago?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So first and foremost, one of the pillars of my business is honesty. So if I truly believe that I cannot help somebody in the way that they want, or if I feel that I'm not the best person to sell their house or to help them purchase their house, I'll walk away from a transaction. So realistically, I'll give you a perfect example. About 2.5 weeks ago, I walked away from a $3 million listing because the gentleman said to me, well, what do you think my home is worth? And I said, in my opinion, you should be listing your house for no more than $3 million. The gentleman wanted me to list his home for $3.7 million. And as much as I tried to explain to him, tried to make him understand that his home wasn't worth that amount of money, he just didn't understand, and he wasn't hearing it. And he just wanted to do what he wanted to do, which is great, because obviously you have to listen to the client, but we are the experts. We know what's happening. In my particular case, when I list the property, I heavily invest into it, which a lot of realtors do not do. For a property like that, I'm going to spend anywhere between $2,500 to $3,000 in marketing. And at the end of the day, it's not something that we're just throwing it on the market to see and to test the waters, because that's also going to hurt the marketability of the house. So when this gentleman goes ahead and later puts it on the market again, buyers are going to see, now that they have platforms like House Sigma, Zolo, they're able to see the history of the property. They're going to see that that property was listed for X amount of days for a specific price and it didn't sell. And that's going to be a bad reflection of the property. And obviously, it's going to be a bad reflection of myself. And I think it's very dishonest for me to take on a listing when I just know I can't sell it for what the owner wants. So respectfully, I had to walk away from from that transaction just because I would have been, and listen, other realtors, they would take on a transaction like that because it's a $3 million listing. It's obviously good for their portfolio. It's good for their name. But at the same time, they're not going to do anything with it, right? So I just prefer to be honest with people. And that's kind of one of the things that I've had to be a little bit tougher over the last 2 or 3 months, because you go to a listing presentation and like I said, people are focused on what happened 2-3 months ago. There's even people saying like, well, another property, like for example, condos are dropping really quickly in price. And there's units that, let's say, could have sold for 700,000 3 weeks ago that wouldn't sell for 700,000 right now.
Yep.
So you tell somebody, listen, unfortunately, your unit is worth this much. You have to kind of stick to your guns and just make them understand where they are in the market at that moment. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You got to walk away from the transaction.
Yeah, no, I love that advice. Personally, like the first 1-2 months, I still didn't understand. I was like, okay, I'll take on the listing. But like, from last 1 month, it's tough if they're not realistic with their listing with the price they want. It's yeah, it's everyone's time is getting into drain, like you're not respecting them. But at the same time, another question just for the same situation. What if the client is your past client and he really want to test the water?
It doesn't matter. You know what? The past clients, they actually trust you more, and they'll actually appreciate the fact that you're being honest with them. And if we're just, it's me and you talking, we're both
Yep.
realtors. But if I said to you, Aditya, I can try to sell your property, but I'm telling you it's not going to sell. And I only make money if I actually sell your property. So if I am saying that I can't sell it for that price and I can't take on your listing, isn't that a red flag to you? Like, I'm
Yep.
telling you I can't sell it. I can't make money. Like, I can't do it. So that, like, right away, they understand at that point that you are trying to be honest with them. You are trying to give them the best advice, and that you really truly care about them.
Yeah, no, I love that advice. And another concern that I'm seeing, like, majority of the buyers have, they want to wait.
Yes.
What kind of advice would you give them, like, in this market? Because, oh, the market is continuing going to drop.
I love this question because for the longest time, buyers wanted the market to go down. The market
Yeah.
finally came down, and they're not wanting to pull the trigger. So I kind of had a little bit of a discussion earlier in the day today, coincidentally, specifically about this topic with a buyer. And he's like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Should I wait a little bit longer? And I said, listen, it just depends on your urgency. If you want to wait a little bit longer, wait a little bit longer. Nobody really has the crystal ball. If you ask me what I feel is going to happen, I do feel that the market is going to go down another little bit from now, let's say till October. But at the same time, I don't think we're going to see prices dropping 20% in the next 2 months. I really don't see that, right? And if you look at real estate over, let's say, a 5-year period, 10-year period, you do see that on average, real estate goes up. But what a lot of buyers don't realize is that the markets that we've been in the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years, they are not real. If you're buying a property with the intention of selling it in 1 or 2 years, that's a bad strategy. It doesn't matter if the market is good. It doesn't matter if the market is bad, because when you purchase a property, you have to think of, you have to pay capital land transfer tax, and you have to pay legal fees. When you sell the property, you have to pay realtor fees, and you have to pay legal fees again. So this is a very big burden. So just to go ahead and recuperate your money and break even, you're having to sell the property anywhere between $40,000 to $100,000 more, depending on the price point of your property, just to break even. So real estate has always been meant to be a long-term investment, which is why I feel that a lot of buyers need to have more of a game plan. I literally just 2 days ago made an Instagram post specifically about this, about buyers not having a real strategy when they buy something. You need to buy something in an area that you're happy in, a house that's going to work for you. It may not have all the bells and whistles and all the renovations, but at the end of the day, the house has to be a house that you can foresee yourself being there 5 to 10 years. Obviously, life changes happen. You may have to relocate for work. You may have a growing family, or whatever the case may be. You may not like the area anymore. Things always change, but you have to have that strategy of, you know what? We do want to go ahead and be here for the next 4, 5, 6 years. And I think that's the mentality that every buyer needs to have in today's market.
Yeah, love that. That's a solid advice. That's something everyone has to think, and and also adding on to that. Oh, what's your personal situation right now? What it's gonna be in 6 months down the road? You're gonna have the same amount of down payment you have right now, or your job and situation will be the same. So the buyer has to analyze themselves where they're standing. um,
Absolutely. And something I wanted to add two things to that. One being the fact that a lot of buyers are choosing to, let's say, wait until interest rates go down. So again, I spoke to this gentleman today and he said to me, well, I'm going to wait until interest rates go down. And you know what I mean? This way I'll go ahead and capitalize. And I'm like, well, when interest rates go down, the prices are going to go up. So what he was looking at is he was looking at his monthly payment. And now his monthly payment is a little bit higher than it was before because the rates are higher. But
yep.
it's like I'm telling him, if your mortgage is $400,000 today and your mortgage is $500,000 in a year from now because the property went up in value, let's say the interest ended up costing you an extra $5,000 for the year. You paid 5,000, but you also saved 95. So it's
Yeah.
all a matter of the way you look at it. And I really feel that the real estate market has transitioned almost into being this like the stock market in a way where things are just fluctuating so quickly. And the market's in the toilet right now, the stock market, but are investors not buying and selling stock? They still buy and sell stock. There's still money to be made. Like millionaires and billionaires were made when the markets were down, not when the markets were hot. So
Yep.
this is the time where you kind of make your money. And as the great Warren Buffett said, you need to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, my favorite guy. So let's take some questions here. I see a lot of comments coming in, so I was just waiting to take the questions. Tessa, hi Aditya and Armani. Question: so, do busy realtors such as yourself having a new real estate agent shadowing an annoying process? How long do you agree to shadow?
So do you want to answer this or do you want me to answer it?
You're the senior in the business, so I want you to answer. See,
Okay.
I'll add on to
So
it.
first and foremost, if you work for my team, you're definitely not a burden at all. My goal for everybody who works on my team is I want to be able to train them so they're an even better realtor than I am. I want to teach my team members to build their own business, to also build their own brand, because at the end of the day, the same way that I'm a brand, they're a brand too. And their clients are going to want to use them, not just because of my brand, but because of them, because of their personality. Now, there's a big difference between working on a team versus shadowing. I do kind of see that if somebody is shadowing you, it could potentially be some type of a burden because when you're working for a team, obviously you're part of the team and the team leader is taking a percentage of your sales. But that percentage, he's not taking it because he's not doing anything. He's taking it because he's helping you grow your business and he's training you and he's teaching you and he's helping you. So if somebody is just shadowing you, so basically they're following you around, it could potentially be annoying. Um, I've never done it, so I really couldn't really say. I have had a couple of friends of mine who are new in the business tag along with me a couple of days, just, you know what I mean, because they wanted to see how I talk to clients, how I kind of met with them. But it's only been kind of like for 3 or 4 appointments. It hasn't been something where they've been shadowing me for weeks on end. My team members, they've never, honestly, they've never been a burden to me because I look forward to helping them. I'm actually the one bothering them and calling them and saying, hey, we're gonna go do this, we're gonna go do that, instead of the other way around. So for me, it's definitely not a burden, but I can't see it being a burden to a lot of other team members, right? Or team
Yeah.
leaders, should I say?
So like I said, I'll add on to it. So you, if you're, if you're joining a team, and the team leader, or one of the team member, they want you to shadow an agent, now that's not a burden, that's a mandatory, because you're going to learn a lot when you shadow, especially in the first few months. The more you shadow, the better. Like for me, I want my new agents to shadow me as much as possible in the beginning, because they're going to see how I'm going to communicate with my clients, they're going to see how I'm going to do the listing presentations, they're going to see how I talk to my buyers, they're going to see how I write my offers, what I negotiate while I'm writing on my offers or presenting the offers. So there is a lot of things that you can learn. But if you're asking a random agent, like, let's say there is a successful agent, like Arman or me or anyone, and you're not part of our team, you're not part of our, nowhere in the business, and you didn't even add any value, but you want to shadow us, most of them, 95, 99% of us will say no.
Of course.
Because, who are you? Why do I have to give my time for you? So rather, if you go with a value, what value are you bringing onto the table for that agent? I was offered in the past, like, someone who was like a brand, he didn't even get the license. He said he wanted to come and work for me for free. He would do it anything. So he's offering value before even asking for shadowing. So maybe you got to think whom you're asking. But if it's you're part of a team, you can, it's not an annoying at all, because the more you success you are, like Arman mentioned, the better for the team leader, because he's a mentor. The mentor is always happy to see you succeed more. And love the question. Thank
Yeah,
you
it's
for
a great question.
asking.
Great question, Tessa.
Yeah. AB, hi Aditya and Arman.
How you
Hi
doing?
Angie. Uh, Let me see. I missed some questions here. Yeah, there has to be value. I think we are talking. He's talking about the value add in the content.
Yes.
Um, oh, here there's a huge applaud for you, Ryan. Arman works harder. I would know how I had got his Instagram, but I watch his videos. He's hardworking, dedicated, motivational, and keep the work. Keep the hard work. Keep up the hard work.
That's so cool. Thanks a lot, Ryan. I appreciate it. When I started this, like it's really humbling. It's actually making me a little bit emotional just to watch something like that, because like this is really hard work. People, I don't think people value social media too much. They think kind of like, oh, it's pointless content. There's a lot of the content that I write and then I post on there that I pour my heart and soul into it, right? So to read something like that, it's wonderful. Thank you so much, Ryan. And I have many shitty parts in my day, but reading something like that, it definitely lifts you up and it kind of makes you want to keep going and push harder. So thank you very much for that.
Love that. Sorry, I don't know what happened. I got the noise. Um, so for those who don't know Arman's Instagram handle, it's in the description. So just click the link. You can go follow. I see a lot of
Thank you.
and the cool. I love your listing videos, man. They're so cool.
Yeah. So you know what? I really, funny enough, with everything on my social media, I'm kind of a person where, as we said back at the beginning of the live, where if I have a goal, I put my head down and I achieve it. So over the last like 4 or 5 months, I've kind of really taken a big step back from social media, just because I don't really know the direction I want to move forward in. So I have lowered the amount of content that I put out. I until I have like a clear vision on what I want to do, I don't really go forward full force, right? So over the next couple of months, I'm going to be implementing a lot new things. I've always wanted to do things that are different than what everybody else is doing. I feel that a big mistake that I actually made is that over the last 3 or 4 years, I put out so much great content and I stopped doing a lot of it just because other agents started doing it too. So I'm like, well, they're doing what I was doing before. So I want to do something completely different. But it was such a mistake because what I was doing was working so much. Like, for example, there's a lot of
Mm.
right now touring very beautiful properties, listing videos, you know what I mean? Like $1 million homes. I was doing that 5 years ago on camera. And I
Yeah, I saw.
stopped doing it because other people were doing it. And I'm like, I don't want to be like them. So since they're copying me, or I shouldn't say copying, but since they're doing that idea too, I'm going to try to reinvent the wheel again. But that's actually
Mm.
a mistake that I feel that I've made, where I should have kept going with that. And I should have been evolving as opposed to kind of saying, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And I should have just kept going. So
Oh
it's a
man.
matter of
So
making up a new game plan, right?
yeah, yeah, but I really appreciate for sharing that, because not many people will talk about that, what you could have done, or why, the downside of it. I love you
We're
shared
in
it.
a business, Aditya, where everybody talks about their wins. Nobody
Yeah,
talks about their faults. Nobody talks about their losses.
I'm
Uh,
impressed. I'm very impressed. So
they
that's
talk about,
actually,
you know what I mean? Like when
yeah.
Ryan made that comment, and I said I got a little bit emotional. I really did. Like I started getting very emotional, right? And I just feel that everything is bullshit.
Yeah,
Everything you don't really get, or you don't really see what you're going to get, and that's the
yeah,
problem. A lot of people are There's a lot of sheep in wolves clothing, you know what I mean? And I think that's the problem that kind of does happen with realtors. And I get it. Like yesterday, a client, you know what I mean, that's been following me for such a long time, she had purchased a house with another realtor, and on the outside the realtor was awesome, and basically the realtor led her in the wrong direction. um, and just, if you see them online, they seem to know what they're doing. And then when she told me all of the things that they did, I was just like, wow. Like, to the average person, this person looks like they're the real thing, but they're not, right? So it's crazy. I always I'm an advocate for trying to use the right people. And when you hire a realtor, meet with two or three of them, see which one is going to offer you like the best service, see which one you feel most comfortable with. But I kind of find that people, oh, this guy looks cool on social media, we're going to use him. Or, you know what, I see this guy's sign in my area all over, I'm going to call that guy. People really don't do their homework, but they need to. Like, this is really important. This is like your biggest, like, unless you have a really really high paying job, or you have a lot of other investments, your home is probably going to be the asset that makes the most amount of money for you in your life. So if you're not making a proper transaction, I don't know what to tell you. You're already losing, right? So
yeah. So what are some of the important questions that buyers or sellers can ask the agent to qualify the agent?
listen, experience is absolutely everything. Unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier on the show, you really don't know what you're doing when you go to real estate school, because they teach you theory, but unless you apply that theory, you're never going to know how it works. And when you were talking about shadowing, like the light bulb went off in my head, because you were talking about just like the process, and you're going to show your team members how to do this and how to present listings. And unless they see that in action, it's those tiny little tips and tricks, and those little movements that you do in every aspect of your business that's going to make that agent successful. It's not when they do the paperwork to send an offer or anything like that, or when you're negotiating, those little things that happen where you do things to, let's say, get more money out of the buyer, or, you know what I mean, talk to your seller to make them understand when sometimes some of the terms are not as favorable for them. You literally have to go through the motions, or you're just never going to learn, right? So
Yeah,
as a seller or as a buyer, I'd want to see what type of experience that realtor has. And I would really ask them so many questions. You know what I mean? I'd ask them how many transactions they personally did the year before, how many transactions they did this year. If you're going to sell my property, what does your marketing package look like? You know what I mean?
yep,
Like, that's something that people really don't focus on. They just figure, okay, this guy's going to put a sign on my lawn, but what else? What's he really going to do? What is he going to do? And why should I pay you versus paying another guy? And that's what you got to kind of figure out when you sit down with the realtor, or even when you're on the buying side. What are you going to bring to the table? Why should I use you to help me purchase a home when I can use the other guy? These are just, and it's all about feeling too. It's about vibe, right? You need to connect with that person. Whether you're
Yep.
buying or selling, you're going to be anywhere between three months to about a year. By the time you start searching, by the time you find a property or sell the property, then the transaction, it's a period of three to 12 months, right? So if you're not working with a person that you really get along with, it's going to be a difficult process.
Yeah, so true, so true. Unfortunately, a lot of people, don't get that point. And in GT, I heard a lot. They don't really take time to find the right realtor. Rather, they look for a realtor who give 1% or 1.5% cash back.
Listen, if people are doing that, then I know it's
What's your comment on that? Do you do cash back?
no, I actually don't. So funny enough, when I was working as a part-time realtor, the first year, I actually did that, or I tried to. I actually tried to, and like people were, it didn't bring me any business. I know that during the hotter markets, that is something that, you know what I mean, a lot of buyers expect. But at the end of the day, you also have to know your value. So if you're a realtor who does that, I'm not going to criticize you, because everybody, to each its own, right? But in my particular case, I know what I bring to the table, and I'm gonna back up what I do. But at the same time, I have a certain value as a realtor, and I just won't, I won't sacrifice that. I won't do that.
Yeah. No, I love that answer. That's so true. How will the market grow in 2023, 2024? What's your thoughts?
Do you have the crystal ball, Aditya?
I wish.
Yeah. So
But
I truly believe that we are, in my opinion, respectfully,
yep.
I do think we're gonna see a little bit more of a decrease from now till the fall. I don't think it'll be anything catastrophic. Now, that being said, we really don't know where rates are gonna go. Obviously, if they raise interest rates another 1% in September, we can definitely be prepared for a big drop. But the rates are so high already, and they've already really stopped the market from going up. And that's one of the things that they really wanted to do. So I personally think it's going to be kind of a flat market in 2023. But because Canada is so heavily vested in real estate, with CMHC, just with everything, the government wants people to be able to refinance. They want people to be able to gain equity, because when they gain equity and they refinance, they put more money into the economy, whether it's with renovations or just anything in general. Money goes back into the economy. So I truly believe that the market, it's not going to be something like, let's say, the crash, because that's what it was, the crash of 89 to 95, where it basically took 6 years for it to kind of go back up. I do think it's going to be something of a 2 to 3 year time frame. But listen, if you have to buy, if you have to sell, you're doing it in the same market. So if you're trying to time it, it's very, very difficult. Like I said, if you're buying something proper, you shouldn't be scared about what the market does, because over the period of 3, 4, 5 years, you're going to win. It's like the people in 2017 who purchased right at the peak of 2017. And even now, even though it's gone down 20% in the last 6 months, they're still up crazy from 2017, right? So I just think that we need to have a little bit more of a balanced market. We can't have 15%, 20% returns over year. A healthy return is anywhere between 2 to 7%. Anywhere in that range, that's what it needs to be. And in order for that to happen, the government also can't allow interest rates of 1.4%, because that's not normal either, because then people are expecting that cheap money all the time.
Yeah, no, so true. I agree a lot with you on that. Like, I feel the same, where the market has potential for, decrease until the Bank of Canada continue to increase the rates. And once, they pause, we can see a stable market where, things not going down at the same time, not going up. But once the Canada is heavily dependent on the real estate for sure, and on top of it, Canada is bringing in a lot of immigrants, who are qualified people. So there are buyers out there. There is demand out there. It's just because of the things happening so quickly, people are scared. to pull the trigger. So because of that, the inventory is scooping up, and the number of buyers on the market is less. So yeah, I think so. 2 to 3 years will be interesting to watch out. But if you're a long-term investor, or if you're a long-term homeowner, you have everything, all the ducks in a row. Finding a right deal in this market is a lot easier than when the markets start to go up, because right now we have a lot more inventory. You can negotiate the deal. You can find a good property that you can enjoy living for next 5-10 years. Now, in last 3 years, I've been a realtor only for last 3.5 years. And since I became a realtor, the market was going up and up. And I have seen, like, buyers were like, oh, I wish I have this in my property, oh, I wish I that one, that, this, and all those things. And they were compromising themselves because there is no inventory. They couldn't. If they wait for longer, the inventory is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. But now you have a big pool. You can pick and choose what you want. You can negotiate on the deal, negotiate on the terms, negotiate on the price. You can get VTBs, if you don't have a mortgage qualification. So you can lot of things you can do. And of course, no one has a crystal ball. And I'll do a small disclaimer here. We are not financial advisors or anything to give a decision on what to say exactly this is going to happen. We are just a random people on YouTube, realtors, random realtor buddies here talking about their opinions.
Yes.
So share your opinion. What do you guys think is going to happen in next 2-3 years? Would you agree, or do you have some other opinion? Let us know in the comments below. We
If
are
I
also
can add
curious.
just a small suggestion, Aditya,
Yeah.
if you're a buyer right now, I would suggest on not doing any longer term mortgages, because I also truly believe it's only a matter of time. I don't think it's going to happen in a few months or in 6 months, but the rates will eventually come down. So,
Yeah.
the same way that there were COVID-19 rates, these are inflation rates. So, the rates will eventually come down. So, as a strategy, you may want to sign a 1 year mortgage, a 2 year mortgage, a 3 year mortgage, but definitely don't sign a 3 or 4 year mortgage, because at the end of the day, you'll be locked in to a
Yeah.
much higher rate. And obviously, if you can qualify for variable, over the last 10, 15 years, variable has always outperformed fixed. And I do feel that it's going to continue to do that. So if you qualify for variable, do variable. If not, sign, you know what I mean? If you have to do fixed, sign a 1, 2, or maximum 3 year mortgage.
Love that advice. I'm all in for variable. Like, even though the rates are going up, you will be starting like 1.5% less than the fixed. Even if the rates go up by another 2 or 3%, if you have that extra cushion of savings for like next 2-3 years, you will be paying little extra interest if the rates continue to go up. But we have seen over the period, you have more flexibility. If you have to refinance later on, your payments are much smaller for variables. And I agree with you, like, don't go for long term fixed mortgages.
Yeah.
If you're going for 5 years fixed mortgage, what if the interest rates drop after 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road? And the chances, I was talking to a lot of mortgage agents in recent times, and they're like, because every bank, every lenders have their own economists, what they predict. So most of them are saying that the chances of interest to go up is for next 6 months is high. They can go up for another 1-2%. But 2 years down the road, there is a high chances for coming down. Because they cannot sustain, they cannot see the consumer fearful to spend on everything. Because if people are not spending money, the economy is gonna pause. So that's gonna be bad on the government. So, and the government, the Canadian government doesn't let that happen, most likely. Because they want the consumers to be confident. Right now, because the consumers are overconfident, they are trying to restrict it. And once they become like too much restrictive, like once the consumers completely stop spending, then they start to release a little bit, give a little bit more lenient on that rates. So love that. Thank you so much for bringing up on that. There is a lot more questions, so let me see if I can get to hear. Amanda, how do you decide which brokerage to sign with? What factors are good to consider?
That's an amazing, amazing, amazing question, Amanda. You're awesome. So I truly believe that as a newer realtor, a lot of brokerages do offer training, but it's not going to necessarily, and again, maybe I'm biased, but I've been with Century 21, Right at Home Realty, Keller Williams, Royal LePage. So I think I have some basis to say what all the other brokerages kind of do. There are brokerages that will give you kind of a different image, and I do think that is very important. But at the same time, if you're looking for training, actual one-on-one training, actual hands-on training, you have to kind of join a team. And the most important thing to consider is what exactly is that team going to do? Now, people usually join teams because they think or they expect that the team is going to give them clients, which that could be. But at the same time, a team, like for example, in my case, I would never give a team member clients if I didn't think that they were ready to take on those clients. So when you search for an actual team, search for a team that's going to teach you the business. Don't focus on the clients, because even if they give you clients and leads, you won't be able to service them if you don't know what you're doing. So you want a team that's going to go ahead and help you build your business. If you find that, that's the team you should go for.
Yep, love that. I agree with you on, especially if you're a brand new agent and you have no idea about real estate, joining a team and a good team. So which brokerage doesn't matter at the end, because every brokerages have their own pros.
They're actually like not the best ones, because they're kind of putting you inside of a rinse and repeat model, right? So
Yep.
they're not really spending all that hands-on time with you. So the same way that I tell buyers and sellers to interview 2 or 3 realtors, Amanda, if you're going to become a realtor and you want to join a team, interview 2 or 3 teams. Talk to 2 or 3 people to see which one is the best fit for you. Don't just go with the one that's making the most buzz on social media, because a lot of very, very busy and profitable teams are ones that you don't really see on social media, believe it or not.
So you're saying don't join Aditya's team.
Sorry?
You're saying that don't join Aditya's team.
No, not at all.
I'm
Hey,
just
they better
kidding.
you better be one of the teams that they're interviewing.
Yeah, because I make a lot of buzz on social media.
Hey, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, but I'm just saying that you should always talk to 2 or 3 different people and don't just base on
Yeah, no,
what you see on social media.
I
I know
love
you
your
live
advice.
in
I
Toronto.
was just joking.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry. Uh, no, you know
I,
what?
I love that you have a sense of humor.
I'm trying to catch up with Canadian sense of humor. I was so bad when I was new to Canada,
I'm
but
still catching up. Don't worry.
where are you from?
I'm actually from Argentina and I have family in Italy as well.
Oh, so Spanish.
So I wasn't born here, so I'm an immigrant as well.
Nice. Glad to hear that. I thought you were a Canadian.
Yes.
By the name, I thought you were Italian, but I didn't guess. I would not have guessed Argentina.
I got some Italian in there.
Good to hear. So there is a couple more questions.
Let's
If
do it.
I know it's already 8, probably if you're okay, we'll take 2 or 3 more questions
Let's
here.
do it. Let's do it.
Okay. So Tessa, thank you so much. That's what she wanted to hear, the previous suggestion there. Amanda, I have a situation like with my other business. People will imitate, but you got to keep going. Your timestamp on your page will speak for itself. I think she's referring to, the one thing that you wish
Yeah.
you should have done it. Yeah,
Yes.
I love that. That's so true. You know what? I would say the same thing. You should have continued. And even now, I would say, because I checked on your YouTube, like your highest views were for that luxury listing.
Yes.
That is, and I saw the timestamp, like freaking heck, it's like 4 or 5 years ago. If you
Yeah.
would have made same videos, you would have got so many buyers, so many listings, because
Yes.
you have made. And I will add on to the point you
Don't
mentioned.
remind me.
No, 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 not for you. Like for the people who are like watching this, I'll
Yes.
give this suggestion. Even if other people doing the same thing, people connect to you, or handful of people. Maybe because people who are from Argentina, or Italian, or who has a beard wants to connect to you, or people who are like brown like me, when they saw me on that video, they might connect to me. So even though we are doing the same things, but the connectivity is for different people. So there is little difference how you dress up, how you show up, what do you look like, will attract certain type of customers or clients. So you have your own database you will be creating. So don't be even hesitant to do, even if you're doing the same thing what other people are doing, if it's working out.
I posted something a long time ago, which I didn't take my own advice, but I said in a post, and I'll never forget this post. I said, you can steal the recipe, but the sauce won't taste the same.
Love that. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you put it in a very simple words.
Good. Too bad I didn't continue to apply it though.
But again, hey, never too late. It's again, you are keep going, right? Like that's all matters. We all do mistakes, trust me. Like, I have done so many mistakes in my career, so many double questioning. And I have some regrets where, oh, I wish I should have done this one. But at the end, what matters is, did we pick up back again?
Yes,
I have seen people go completely silent for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. But what matters is then you come back and with more energy.
absolutely. Big shout out, Sahas. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming. Appreciate that.
Mo, you said experience is key. What did you do in the beginning days to get clients to trust you with their sales and purchase? Love that question.
Amazing question, Mo. Amazing. So very simple. When you're new, you don't have the experience. Very simple. You're gonna tell these people that you're gonna fucking work you're gonna work harder than anybody else. And that's it. All these other people, they're too busy to help you. I'm not dedicating all my time to you. You're my focus. I'm going to take care of it. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to go ahead. You're going to give people that confidence. But guess what? You have to bust your ass working for those people.
Love that. Love that. That's your asset. That's the asset you have at the beginning.
Listen, you're always going to make a sale, and at the end of the day, you're either going to sell them on why you can help them or they're going to sell you on why you can't. So it's just a matter of you figuring out how you're going to get them to say yes to you.
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember my first initial days, like my first client, he waited for me to get my license for like 1.5, 2 months. And now, fast forward, he's one of my agent who was working in a job for 12, 13 years. And he quit his job. Now he's full-time agent with me.
Amazing.
The very first client who waited for me. Only thing that he saw is like, I'm honest and I work hard. Like
That's it.
he knows like I'm gonna help him the best.
Listen,
So
I know realtors don't have the biggest track record of being honest, and I lose so much business on a yearly basis just because I'm honest. And it's honestly a blessing and a curse, but I can sleep at night. And for everybody that's out there that feels that you need to lie, cheat, and steal to make it in this business, it's not true. Just be honest. The right people will pay attention to that, and you will succeed in the future because of that. Build your business around that, and you'll be okay.
yeah, yeah, I agree with you. You sleep peacefully. They
Yes,
come back whether even if you don't show up for next 1 year, still they'll be with you because you are how you treated them when you started. How you treated them when they're with you.
absolutely.
Last question here from Tessa, and
Here,
I know you.
question very simple, and I don't know if you have another one because her question is really easy to answer.
Sure, go ahead.
Realtors are self-employed just like anybody else who's self-employed. So the bank is going to take your average your average income over the last 2-3 years. And depending on how much money you made, that's what you're going to be approved for. So us realtors, we're no different than any other self-employed business.
There you go. And I'll add on to it. There are different lenders, talk to different brokers, because some lenders even give you based on your 6 months track record, 8 months track record, if you have a good track record. Uh, Thanks for those words. I just got my license about a month ago, currently working on my YouTube channel. There you go. Mo, keep it up, trying to get exposure, searching for the exclusive first client.
Listen,
Perfect, man. Congratulations.
you had any advice, Mo, take a look at guys like Aditya. Even though I'm established, even though I've been around for a long time, it's really great to see guys like him putting out that energy. And I know that I've been at this 16 years, but guys like you are really motivating to me. And it's like, you know what? it's like you light that fire for me. You know what I mean? So
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Glad
Well,
to hear. Glad to hear.
thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for your time. Great tips. Great energy.
Thank you.
Definitely, we'll catch up when I'm in Toronto.
I
And
hope
guys,
so.
if you haven't seen, Armani's links, it's in the description for YouTube and Instagram. Make sure go follow. And if you need any help in in Toronto area, don't hesitate to reach out to the best.
Listen, if anybody has any questions, whatever it is, armanicells.ca on my Instagram, shoot me a DM. I'll be happy to help. And even though if you're a licensed realtor or you work for another team or another brokerage, I'm happy to help. And just send me a message and I'll be happy to connect with you.
There you go. And it's on the screen. If you don't
Awesome.
see it, if you don't have any patience to go do look at the description. There you go. Brother, thank you so much. It's a lot of fun. I know you're busy. You gotta get back to your kids.
Thank you. I
So
appreciate it. Thankfully,
thank
they're
you.
burning the house down.
I know. Awesome, man. So have
All
a
right.
good evening.
You too.
Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
guys, for attending and asking your
Again.
questions. And again, keep these questions coming in. This live, I'll be doing live every Thursday. So don't hesitate to come back and ask any questions you have, because you don't get time for successful people like Arman. It's often, and I'm doing my best to bring the best for you to answer your questions. So I hope you will take advantage and take this as an advantage to build your career, build your investment portfolio. With that, thank you so much. Take care, guys.